You know, I had a feeling we'd be getting a DS soundtrack pretty soon, since we recently got new soundtracks to fill out the Game Boy and GameCube lineups, and voila! Here's new Super Mario Bros. It had been over a decade since the last brand new 2D Mario game when this came out, so longtime Mario composer Koji Kondo worked alongside Asuka Hayazaki and Hajime Wakai to create a soundtrack that would fit right in with the classics, but still sound fresh, and I'd say they succeeded, though strangely none of them would return for the sequels. The new Super Mario Bros. Games are pretty infamous for how much music they reuse from game to game, but this first game is unique in that none of its tracks are outright reused, and only a few tracks got remixed in the Wii game and beyond. Being on the DS means that this game's music is going to sound worse from an audio quality standpoint than the later NSMB games, but I'd argue the instrumentation used makes some of the songs more memorable than their later counterparts. The ground theme, for instance, is a very peppy and fun tune on its own, but the little bits of chiptune and bouncier beat give the song an energy that I feel NSMB Wii's version lacks. It's a great track that stands alongside the rest of the classic ground themes. This is also where the infamous bas took hold. They've been around since Mario 64's level entrance jingle, but almost every level in all the NSMB games uses them a lot, and your mileage will vary on how annoying they are. The desert theme is pretty decent. It sounds more Middle Eastern than the theme used for the later games, but I've heard better. Same with the beach theme. It's a pleasant track for the tropical setting, but I think it would be better if it were like 10 or so seconds longer. The underwater theme is very peaceful, and I do prefer it to the one used in the later games. The Ghost theme is where the DS's sound hardware gets to be a bit of a problem. I get what they're going for, but the backing synths sound very fuzzy and are more annoying than spooky to me. But don't worry, this is the only track in the game that I flat out don't like. The tower theme honestly sounds more haunting than the Ghost House theme, especially with the droning notes toward the middle. I like it. The athletic theme is very energetic and brings out even more of that catchy chiptune. Maybe it's a little too upbeat for some of the trickier levels, but it's still a great listen. The castle theme is easily my favorite song in the game, and another one I prefer to the later games. It's really menacing with a somber undertone, but doesn't feel out of place for a Mario song. It did get a remix in Mario Kart World, but the original is still fantastic. The boss battle theme is kind of whatever in my opinion. It's a remix of Mario 3's boss theme, but it feels weirdly relaxed to me. I like the more energetic remix in Wii and U way better. The volcano theme is okay too. It doesn't sound all that threatening for the setting, but it's a nice enough listen. Bowser's final battle theme is about on par with his NSMB U theme. It's pretty good, but also short and not quite as intense as most of his other themes. The credits theme is pretty good though, definitely nowhere close to Super Mario World's, but it's pretty catchy and works well as a nice send-off to the game. But we're not quite done. Remember that awesome Mario vs. Luigi mode that was only in this one game? It has two pretty good exclusive music tracks, one being a lower pitched, sillier sounding version of the ground theme, and the other being a more upbeat track with the DS trumpets and chiptune going all out. And that's New Super Mario Bros. For the DS. There's also the minigame themes, but they're all ripped right from Super Mario 64 DS, so I'll save those for when that game shows up. This soundtrack is solid, with a few standouts, but a lot of it's pretty unremarkable to me. I'm personally not that big on the DS's sound hardware, but New Super Mario Bros. Uses it pretty well, minus the Ghost House theme. I will definitely credit it for having a lot of unique pieces of music that none of the other NSMB games have, so if you haven't played the DS game in a while and only remember the music from the sequels, I do recommend giving the original soundtrack another listen. I'm placing New Super Mario Bros. Between Yoshi's Story and F-Zero on the overall rankings list. I feel pretty similar about all three soundtracks actually. I think New Super Mario Bros. Has one or two more songs I like more than Yoshi's Story, but F-Zero beats it out just barely to me. I'll see you next time for the next episode of Nintendo Music Weekly. Not counting the special release sneak peeks and the Famicom Disk System variants, we're at soundtrack 99, which means up next is the Big 100, and just in time for Nintendo Music's 1-year anniversary. So let's see what they have in store for us. Bye!